Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Intuitive Gems. My name is Desiree, and I will be doing your money, wealth, finance, prosperity, abundance reading for the month of August 2021. If this is your first time catching one of my readings, I do want to say welcome, and I invite you to subscribe because I do these readings each and every month, and I would love to share your money message with you. For the readings this month, I will be using my Trippin Waite Tarot deck. I will clarify with my Radiant Rider Waite Tarot. And then I will close out your reading, Gemini, with a Crystal Angels Oracle card. Excuse me, I hope you're having a good summer. It's been really hot where I'm at. So, I think I've said it before, but if you hear the fan going in the background, I apologize in advance, but I just don't want to get too overheated when I do the reading because I have a tendency to really, I don't know, I get like hot, energetic, like I don't know. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it, Gemini, and see what shows up for you. As it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance for the month of August 2021. All right, so you can see here that it looks like you're going to have a really, I want to say the month is going to be good because there's going to be a lot of growing that happens. There's going to be a lot of expansion. There's going to be a lot of new levels that you're going to be hitting, new targets, new benchmarks, new just new opportunities in general. And I can say that by the Ace of Wands and the Strength card. You also have the Guru card, which is very interesting. It's a card that's unique to this specific deck, but it talks about enlightenment, but not only spiritual, but also in other areas of your life. So we talk about spirituality here, and we also talk about you know, manifesting money and all the good things. But the Guru means that you really take it up to the next level. When we move into August, Gemini, you're really going to be, like I said, leveling up in so many ways. So much so that you may not even recognize yourself, or the people around you may not even recognize you. That's what this Five of Swords is telling me. That, you know, not that you're going to be so out of touch, but sometimes when you elevate yourself professionally, financially, spiritually, there's people around you who don't understand, or they don't resonate, or they don't get it. And I have a feeling that's going to be a little bit of what you may be experiencing, especially when we hit the first week of August. So we've got the Strength card there. The Strength card means that you definitely, you know, have what it takes. You are really fully supported. You're embodied in whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether that be financial growth, which I'm sure that's probably what it is for most of us. But there's more than that. Like I said, I look at these cards and I see there's more than just the financial gains here. There's also, like I said, spiritual, mental, emotional gains that you're making. The Three of Wands tells us that you actually have a new perspective on your future. You actually see some potential and some possibilities that you either weren't aware of before, or you probably figured that maybe they just came out of nowhere. Thing is like you've been setting yourself up for this big win, and it looks like things are finally starting to shift, and it looks like that win is definitely happening. However, it's not going to be something swift and grand. Looks like it's going to happen in probably some small waves, but the thing is that it is going to incrementally increase along with everything else in your life, so get ready. We also have the Page of Swords here at the end. This is unexpected news about something being discontinued, stopped, taken away, cut off. I don't feel like this is something money directly, but it will have an indirect influence on your financial position, on your financial state. And I don't think it's going to be anything catastrophic. I'm looking at the other cards and I don't get that at all. Intuitively, I'm not picking that up. But I do feel like it's probably going to be something that's more of an inconvenience, you know, like an unexpected bill, or I don't know, maybe you have unexpected expense, you know, maybe you got to replace something, I don't know. But, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's just unexpected. That's what the reverse position is telling me. But, you know, this is more of a heads up, so it's something that you can just make sure that you're prepared for. Make sure you've got your savings, you know, your emergency fund, your peace of mind, money, whatever you need in order to keep yourself, you know, pretty stable. And, you know, so you have the freedom of not worrying about something like that. Okay, Gemini, let's see what else shows up for you as it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance. Wow. For the month of August 2021. And I just realized that I did not check to make sure that everything was in frame here. So as I arrange this, as us Virgos do, let's talk about what's showing up once we hit this second week of August. So once we move into the second week of August, looks like you're going to have some, maybe a little bit of stalls, maybe some things, little, you know, little hiccups here and there as it relates to business or work or anything financial, investments. The Ace of Pentacles tells me that something starts off strong, but it doesn't quite bloom into what it is supposed to. Or, you know, maybe you launched a business, but then you realize there's a couple snags in there, and there's still some things that need to be worked out, still some things that need to be kind of tweaked. So the Ace of Pentacles is a good card. You know, the only thing, like I said, when he shows up in the reverse, this is something that you need to really be aware of, because something's probably gonna not pan out. Doesn't mean that it won't be a success, but it just means that, oh, you know, it's probably going to be something that you have to tend to before you can move ahead, you know, full speed. Next, we have the Five of Wands. That's improved communication, especially in a group setting. Now, the other thing about the Five of Wands, too, is it talks about bickering, but it talks about it, okay, yeah, it could be bickering, but it could also just be a miscommunication of some sort. It could also be a disagreement. It could be a heated discussion. When it's in the reverse, though, that means that things are starting to calm down. People are starting to kind of relax a little bit. People are starting to be a little bit more open to communicating and to being more of a listener than someone who's just interjecting all the time. Now, this is really, really important to pay attention to, especially if you are, you know, kind of struggling with that in your workplace, or if you are trying to communicate with other people as it relates to your business. You know, maybe you're dealing with clients, maybe you're dealing with vendors, maybe you're dealing with consultants or people who are, you know, working for you in some capacity. Just make sure that you take your time. It's one of those things where communication is really going to be key in order to make things work. And, you know, especially since we're dealing with a couple of hiccups here, you really want to make sure that you pay attention to your communication as we hit the second week of August. Next, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. That's a beautiful card. That's financial support showing up for you in a big way. If you are waiting to hear back for a job or a loan, looks like you're going to hear some good news about that roughly maybe in the first half of August. The other thing about the Knight of Pentacles, sometimes it means that someone just shows up out of the blue to help you financially. And it doesn't always mean that they're just going to give you money, but someone could give you some information, someone could give you some advice that saves you a ton of money, right? So you definitely have some good financial support coming your way, depending on your circumstances. You know, that could look like anything. Next, we've got the Knight of Cups. Now, the Knight of Cups is an emotional card. It's an emotionally heavy card when it's in the reverse position. The Knight of Cups talks about sometimes being a little bit emotionally disconnected. Now, sometimes when we are working in business, when we are trying to really grow something, emotions can trip us up. So when I see the Knight of Cups in reverse, that's telling me that we have to pay attention to how we're feeling and not to let our emotions always dictate what our next move is going to be. Now, we may feel very passionate and very intuitively connected with something, but that's a little bit different from feeling emotional about it, okay? And so you have to recognize where these feelings are coming from, if there's something there that could steer you in the wrong direction maybe, or maybe you could be influenced by emotions that could cause you to make maybe not the best decisions as it relates to your money, as it relates to your business, to your investments, and so forth. Okay, so just pay attention to how you're feeling and really examine those feelings and make sure that, you know, if there's something that needs to be dealt with, that you deal with it separately. Looks like you do make a decision. We've got the Two of Swords here, the Two of Swords in the reverse. Gemini talks about you making a decision. You finally buckle down and you make a decision, something maybe you've been procrastinating on, something that you have maybe felt that you weren't ready to decide on. Again, there is a money connection, a money tie to this decision. But the thing is that you finally make a decision about something and it gives you peace of mind. You're no longer, you know, up at night worrying about it, feeling anxious about it, or feeling discouraged about something. You do make a decision, even though you may not fully be prepared, you know, about making this particular decision. The thing is that you decide, okay, I'm going to do this, or I decide I'm not going to do this. And at least you have kind of a little bit of a structure in order to move forward. And like I said, that gives you, you know, it frees up a lot of anxiousness in your mind because you're not worried about it and you're not stressed about it. All right, Gemini, let's see what else shows up for you as it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance for the month of August 2021. Interesting, you've got a lot of aces showing up. So, you know, you've got some, like I said, there's a lot of new things coming your way. New ideas, new opportunities, just generating a lot of newness, which is very exciting. So let's start with the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Now, this is a repeater. Remember, we saw him here. Looks like these two cards are connected because they're in the same line. They're in the same kind of vein there. So whatever you kind of kick off at the beginning of the month, looks like when you hit the second half of August, things will probably slow down a little bit. So you'll have a strong start, but the momentum may not continue to go forward as we hit the second half of August. Now, it doesn't mean that anything's wrong. I can tell by the Chariot as the next card, but the thing is that we do have to be realistic and understand that not everything is always going to be 100% of the time. So understand that, you know, yeah, things may kind of slow down a little bit. You may have a strong start, and then you kind of settle into a particular groove that is unique to your particular business, your particular financial cycle, whatever it may be. You know, you just have to really understand and kind of be patient with it, you know, and don't judge it as something is wrong. Understand and accept it that this is just a normal part of the flow of what I'm creating here. Next, we have the Chariot card. The Chariot card is one of my favorite cards because it's not only a card of speed, but it also talks about things moving forward and things moving in a very progressive way. The other thing about the Chariot card is that sometimes it talks about success in multiple areas, and that's something I think we're all excited about. If you have multiple streams of income, if you have a full-time job and a side hustle, if you have several businesses that you're working, several investments, maybe several real estate properties that you're kind of, you know, dealing with or managing or whatever, the thing is all of them are going to be doing pretty well, you know, and that's very exciting because, you know, I think that's one of the things that a lot of us as self-employed entrepreneurs, you know, that's one of the things that we strive for is like, you know, if we have one area of business that's not doing too great, well, we still have 6 other streams of income that could potentially be thriving. And it looks like you're moving into that space, Gemini, as we move throughout the month of August. Now we have the Three of Swords, probably, I'm not feeling like it's a heavy card, but I do feel like it is something that comes up that kind of throws you off emotionally. Why? Because he fell onto that King of Cups. And we talked about the King of Cups and how this is such a heavy, emotionally charged card. The Three of Swords talks about heartbreak, disappointment, really being heartbroken about something. Now, this could be something in your personal life, although I'm not feeling that directly for a lot of you. However, it could be for some of you. I'm feeling like there's going to be some type of a disappointment or some type of a letdown. Maybe, you know, you're in sales and you thought you were going to close on a big deal and it doesn't happen. Or maybe, you know, someone you work with turns out to betray you. Or maybe somebody, you know, you thought very highly of them and they show you a different side. It's one of those things where you just are very disappointed and you're very let down. But now this doesn't necessarily mean that your money is going to take a dive. Not at all. But it just really kind of forces you to readjust how you see people and how you see things and how you see your work and how you see your position in your particular field of, you know, your industry or your employment or whatever. It just kind of calls you to really look deeper and not to give people, well, I guess I should say maybe not to put people on a pedestal. And I know we're all guilty of that, especially, you know, people that we admire or maybe people who are role models for us. But I do feel like that's what this is here. It's like somebody disappoints you or somebody lets you down. Eight of Pentacles. This talks about a slowdown in work. Again, I'm not surprised considering we had the Ace of Wands here. Eight of Pentacles means that, you know, the workflow is probably going to slow down to some degree. Doesn't necessarily mean, you know, it's going to stop, but you're just not going to be as busy as you probably were earlier in the summer or earlier in the year. But again, remember, depending on what industry and what business you're in, that's pretty much how all businesses flow. Every business has cycles. And so we always have our up cycle, and then we have the down cycle. We have our busy season. We have our slow seasons. So, you know, like I said, don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's just the nature of the cycle. Finally, we have the Six of Pentacles. Be careful with being overly generous or giving too much. Not only in financial areas, but also with your time, your resources, your attention, your knowledge, your information. Be careful that you're not overextending yourself in some way. It's nice to be giving. It's nice to be generous and to share what you know, but you also have to do it in a way that does not put you in a position to be taken advantage of or put you in a position to where you feel like you're trying to prove yourself or you're trying to prove something to someone. Okay, like I said, I'm not saying don't share anything or don't be generous at all, but just, you know, be a little guarded. You know, does the person deserve, you know, what you're sharing? And I'm not saying, you know, to be mean or anything, but, you know, sometimes some people, you just got to be careful. I'll say it like that. You just got to be careful. All right, so what else do we need to know for the sign of Gemini? As it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance for the month of August 2021. Okay, Gemini, so as we close out the month of August, we got the Queen of Swords here. Now, the Queen of Swords, she can be a little firecracker. When I see her in the reverse, that means something abruptly gets cut off with no explanation and no hesitation. And I'm not feeling like this is money being cut off, but I do feel like there's something as it relates to your business or to your work that's going to be stopped rather abruptly. Could be supplies, could be, for some of you, I'm feeling like it's like a funnel. You know, like you know how in sales there's a sales funnel. And I feel like for some of you who are in sales, especially online sales, looks like your funnel is going to dry up. And of course, I know that's not going to apply to everybody, but for those of you who that does resonate with, that's what I'm picking up intuitively. But in general, you know, it just looks like something's going to dry up, something's going to slow down. Next, we have the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands, that's a weird card, considering intuitively what I'm feeling with this card is that this is a card where something in work does not show up or does not come through. And I'm picking up a lot of that energy in this reading, and I don't know why. But again, this is more like a heads up, right? This is just like kind of to be on your toes about it, Gemini. You know, somebody says they're going to do something and they don't. And this is something related to your work. Like they say, oh yes, I'll cover your shift. Or, oh yes, you can borrow my tools so you can do X, Y, and Z. You know, it's one of those things, and then they flake on you. Just be very, very careful. You know, always have a backup to your backup, so to speak. And if you have a feel, like if someone says, yes, I'll cover your shift, and then you have a feeling, oh, that's nice, but I'll believe it when I see it, kind of thing. Trust your own gut instinct on that, okay? Because remember, this is not about making predictions here, but it's about tapping into the energy of what could be possible for you at this time. But again, energy is constantly moving and shifting and changing, so you can always come out ahead just by being on the, what is it? On the defense? On the offense? But I think you know what I mean. You know, it's always kind of being in a position to where you're like, I'm good if it does happen, and I'm still good if it doesn't. Next, we have the Magician. The Magician is one of my favorite cards. It's a very powerful card because it's the card of alchemy. It's a card of manipulating situations and things and circumstances, you know, to what we want them to be. And of course, you do have the power to do that, especially as it relates to your finances. The Magician tells us that you have everything you need to create the life you want at this time. You do have everything you need in order to make the money you want to make. So don't let anything ever, you know, get in the way of that, okay? Because you have exactly what you need. Now, you may not get the money instantly, but you can definitely be on your way and on the path towards creating that financial freedom or whatever it is, that successful business, whatever. The other thing about the Magician is that it's literally the card of magic, right? So magical things happen for you at the end of August, so get ready for that too. Next, we have Temperance. Temperance is telling me that there's going to be a few things out of balance. Maybe some things may be a little out of sync. Again, it's temporary because Temperance is that type of a card. She tells us that sometimes things just don't always feel equal, and things don't always pan out to be, you know, equally balanced in all areas of our life. But again, everybody goes through that. Sometimes one area is thriving and then we've got to work on something else, and you know, so it's just one of those things where you have to be flexible and understand that this is, again, just kind of the nature of how things flow. Next, we have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is self-limiting beliefs. Sometimes this is a lack mindset. And it's interesting because I know we all kind of fall into this. Sometimes it's a habit, sometimes it's a pattern, sometimes it's things from our past that trigger us to think or to have certain beliefs. The Five of Pentacles means you still have to work on your money mindset, okay? Now remember, the Magician tells us you have everything you need. But if you don't believe you have everything you need, well, you can end up getting into trouble, you know? And when I say trouble, I don't mean anything horrible, but you may be limiting yourself in a way that takes you further away from what you're trying to accomplish. So pay attention to your money mindset. What type of limiting beliefs do you have? Are you putting blocks on yourself that don't need to be there? Finally, we have the Seven of Wands, and it looks like you're going to be doing a lot of stuff on your own, and you may not really feel like you're, I don't want to say supported, because supported isn't the word, but I can't think of any other way to describe it. It's like where you feel much better working independently and alone than you would feel if you had somebody working with you, right? It's like one of those things where you just feel like sure, somebody wants to help, but I'd rather do this on my own, right? It's like you want to do the work. You want to be the decision maker. You want to be the one that manages everything. Not because someone's not capable of helping you, but this is just something you want to do by yourself, for yourself. And I have a feeling this is something business related for some of you. You know, it's like you want to start your business and you want to be in control of it. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But eventually you will get to the point, that is, if you continue to grow, and you will get to the point to where you will need other people to step in, but right now is just not that time. So, Gemini, you've got a very, very, I want to say a little bit of a tricky month here, because you have some new opportunities coming, you have some growth showing up, you have a lot of newness, a lot of new energy. But at the same time, it looks like there's going to be some people here that could be a little disappointing. You know, and it's not like it's going to affect you financially, but it's going to affect you maybe spiritually and emotionally, and sometimes that can throw off your money game. Okay, so just pay attention that could happen, and you know, put some things in place to make sure you set yourself up for success. All right, let's go ahead and close out your reading, Gemini, with a Crystal Angels Oracle card. This is a beautiful deck. Ooh, Lapis Lazuli. Life-changing epiphany or experience. It's a time of big and blessed change for you. And God is supporting you each step of the way. Yeah, I do feel that. I do feel the energy of Lapis Lazuli and this message for you, Gemini. You know, a big and blessed change is on the way. And I have a feeling you are going to experience that, and you will feel that in August. And just know that you are supported. You're supported by the divine, and you are supported by the God within. All right, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, observations, please drop them down below. I want to thank you so much for choosing to spend this time with me. We'll do it all again next month.